What's up, Keegan? How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Lekker, lekker. Can't complain. Enjoyed the sport this weekend, especially that Formula One. How was that fucking shit?
Yeah, that is such a cracker. I feel so gutted for Russell, even though I can't stand Merc, but yeah, man, I'm so gutted for the poor oak.
Yeah, I
It
was
was
telling.
exciting for a change.
I watched the race at Bucky's place, and I told him that was legit the first time ever that I was supporting Mercedes because I really wanted him to get a win. I even put $50 on him, and then their pit crew and bad luck cost me fucking money.
Yeah, that I don't know. Like, I think it's the first time in a very, very long time that I've seen such a mess up when it comes to a double stack like
It was
that.
crazy. First of all, they didn't really have to pit. That was never part of the plan. Secondly, what I don't understand is surely they train these things, and if you just look at the way they set it up was just a mess from the start. Like as the crew comes running out, what I would do, and what makes sense to me is you put whoever's coming in first, so you double stack the four tires on top of each other.
Yeah.
You put who came in first? Russell came in first. You put his tires on the top. You swap them out, and then the tires that are left at the bottom belongs to the next driver. But it was just all over the shit. And then the one tire went fucking flying, and then they took
That's what I wanted to say.
They put that tire onto a car. I'm like, surely you're going to fetch the tire. That just came off a car. How the fuck do you not?
That's what I laughed. That is the funniest thing. The tire went running down the freaking pit lane. Like, when last have you seen that?
Yeah, but then they put that same tire. Well, the way it looked to me, at least, they put that same tire onto Bottas's car.
Well, what ended up happening is Bottas actually just got the same set of tires put back on his car. They took it off and they put the same set back on again.
Fucking hell. And then,
which was such.
They probably. I'm assuming I haven't seen anything about the penalty for using too many sets of tires on Russell's car. But the fucked up thing is, even if he won that race, he probably would have been disqualified.
He didn't get a penalty at the end.
Yeah, but it's probably because it wouldn't have mattered. It doesn't really matter now, But if he won the race, then it's a different story. If he didn't get that flag.
So I think there's a rule as well where if there is a stuff up, it has to be fixed within 3 laps or 2 laps of the stuff up.
I see. And they were obviously fine because they brought him straight in.
Yeah, it was straight in from that side. So
because someone,
I think maybe that saved him.
One of the guys after the race was saying that is probably going to be a disqualification. And then I was still telling Bucky's like, that would be so harsh because it's not, you could see it wasn't done to cheat, It was an honest mistake and they paid the price for it.
Well, the best thing about the whole thing was, did you hear Toto after the race? Toto Wolff. He sat, they sit on the chairs.
And those fucking uncomfortable looking chairs.
Yeah, so they sit on the chair and they're like, so, Toto, can you please tell us what was the situation in the double stack? So he said, yeah, today was just a colossal fuck up live on TV. He said it. And then they're like, "Ooh, sorry, apologies for the swearing." He's like, "Oh yes, sorry, I forgot. I can't say that live on TV."
Well, you can't blame him for swearing after all of that. I mean, jeez, what a time to make a mistake like that.
Especially your both drivers are in the points, or it's close to decentish in the points.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, but yeah, such a bummer for Russell. And I was also chatting to Bucky's, and we said that what would be really cool is if, regardless of whether or not Hamilton is fit enough this weekend or healthy enough, I think it would be really cool if they just give him another shot in the car anyway, because Hamilton's done what he needed to do. The team has done what they needed to do. They both won. Um, so I think it would be quite cool of them to give him another bash.
Yeah, we're actually talking. I was talking to someone else about it. Be like, I won't be surprised if they can give Lewis a bit of an extended holiday now. I mean, he's done what he's had to do. No need to really rush him back, even though I'm pretty sure that he would be dying to get back into the car again. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I haven't heard anything. I've looked out for news.
Yeah,
and
I
it's been
saw a
very
video
quiet on
just
that front.
like 20 minutes ago on Twitter. Hamilton released a little video, and I was hoping that he would give an update, but he was just saying that this morning he felt fine and he did his first workout this morning. So he didn't really say whether there's any chance of him racing or not racing.
I think it's going to come down to, obviously, he still needs to test negative. So, so yeah, that's still, he could be feeling 100% fine, but it could still be asymptomatic in a way and still test positive. So we're just going to have to see how the week goes, I guess. Oh, I actually just see it being retweeted now on Twitter, the Hamilton video.
Yeah, he doesn't give much away. But look, I'll be honest with you. I think Russell should get another shot just for shits and giggles, and also maybe it'll be another exciting finish. Another exciting race to finish the year off. Another big talking point, obviously, around this is it doesn't look extremely good for Hamilton. Everyone's always said that he's always had the best car and that's why he's doing so well and all of that. Now this kid comes along and basically wins the race in his car first shot.
Well, the funniest, he was so fast and he was riding on the wrong settings coming out of the pit
Yeah,
stop.
he didn't even understand the car.
He keeps saying to Bono, Hamilton's engineer, Bono, there's no power. Like, I'm losing power. And they're like, mate,
they're like, he's still in pit mode.
Yeah, you need to get out of pit mode, or like it's like ND36 something. You need to get out of that setting, and then like, oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah,
but he's still grabbing a second on people.
Yeah, look, he was when he came out after that tire fuck up, he was absolutely flying. Jeez, I mean, the way he just cruised past Bottas fair, okay, obviously wasn't the same tire set and whatever, but it was crazy. And then we all thought he's definitely winning this.
Yeah, I think what I know, I was causing trouble on Twitter on Sunday. I was like, this is the perfect conspiracy theory that they can that they literally just botched Russell's race just to save Lewis's legacy a little bit, the team, because that would have been an utter embarrassment if a guy gets into that car for the first time 2 days ago and then goes and wins that Grand Prix. Would have been a little bit of a blotch on Lewis's legacy, I think.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying is it doesn't look good for Lewis. Even now, in my mind, Russell won that race.
Well, I'm saying
no fault of his own. It was complete, unless you're a conspiracy theorist, complete just bad luck.
I'm pretty sure there must be somewhere where a team has botched something on purpose, not to get away from something or to save face, and somehow. Pretty much, I don't know. I haven't watched the Grand Prix for that long to sort of know, or if that's ever happened before. But I was also saying, I said on Twitter on Sunday, I was like, it's just proven that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can get in that car and probably be competitive. So I'll definitely be. I sent Toto a mail yesterday saying that I'm willing to step into that car this week if he needs a driver. I'll make. I'm pretty sure the car will do enough for me to be competitive.
100%.
If he wants to swap me out with Bottas, even I'm willing to do that.
Well, I was just gonna say it also doesn't
Doesn't look good
look
for Bottas, dude.
amazing. It doesn't look amazing for Bottas because, yeah, he should be the one taking over, and you would have expected him to be the one, pushing for the win. Especially considering that they got lucky in the beginning with Verstappen going out as well. So it was really Bottas's race to win, in my opinion, and
The
I'm
way
sure
he
he
got
had some.
the way he got overtaken in that first lap or those first few laps was just like it's like he wasn't even there, and it's almost like he's completely frozen himself. Like when it comes to competition, he just cracks. Like if he's racing against himself or against the clock, it's fine on a Saturday for the time for qualifying, and then as soon as he's in a pressure situation, he just seems to absolutely fall apart. And listen, I know he's supposed to riding. Well, he's down to ride next season for them, but I wouldn't be surprised if Toto's thinking like, geez, like just imagine having a little bit of fresh blood in there. I know Bottas is on qualifying close-ish to Hamilton in a way, but when it comes to the race, if Hamilton's in the lead, Hamilton's normally like
way ahead.
6-7 hundredths of a second off Bottas, so it's normally quite a gap. You just wonder what maybe a George Russell does. Does he maybe make it 200? Does he close that gap a little bit where he might not beat Hamilton, but he might be a lot closer to him? You got to wonder those things. And we've seen teams before, they'll take a driver. I mean, they will quickly make Bottas a third driver if they bring Russell up. He'll be the one on the sidelines. So I know people are going to say and like to say Stoffel should have probably gotten a chance in that, but mate, if Toto's your manager, like he's George's manager,
he's going to make sure you get a seat when there's a chance.
There's no chance that that your third driver is going ahead of him. So I like the noise that Max is making as well. I mean, Max has been making a lot of noise with saying that he needs a driver. His teammate needs to get closer to him. He can't keep trying to get everything out the car and racing on his own against other teams.
Well, that was exactly going to be my next point was going to be Perez doesn't have a seat. Surely after, not just after this race, but after this season, he replaces Albon. I mean,
I think towards the end of the season, the second half, well, basically in one season, but towards the end of these last few races, Checo's shown how consistent he is as a racer. And
that's one thing that
we all look at Red Bull. We all look at Red Bull as the second best team at the moment. But I mean, he's made that pink Merc just as quick as the Red Bulls, if not quicker at times. So I think you have to look at it. My only thing there is we know that that Red Bull are pretty set on their ways when it comes to bringing drivers through and through the teams. So the old Toro Rosso, which is now obviously Alpha Tauri. Now it's always been like they take a driver and they bring him up, through the two teams,
through the ranks,
And Checo sort of goes against that policy slightly, where they don't normally take an older driver from another team and like bring him in. It's normally, if they do bring a driver in from another team, it's normally a youngster. So it'll be interesting to see how if Red Bull change their way of doing things slightly, because they do need it. They do need a driver close to Max, and they do need a driver close to Max. Max needs help. If Max is going to split the Mercs, he needs a teammate close to him. And
well, I mean, this weekend was the perfect example how far Albon is off from being that, because you've got Leclerc and Verstappen going out of the race, and then you've got the two Mercs, obviously way out ahead, fucking up, and then Albon still in sixth. He
Yeah,
should have
it's
been. I mean, you should expect him definitely to be on the podium after all of that.
oh definitely. There's no doubt about that. I think the guys at Red Bull probably they're scratching their heads, and I know it's probably a difficult decision because they're saying they obviously rate Albon in the system. So where does he go? Does he go back down to AlphaTauri? Does he become the third driver? You obviously find that they look at it and they say, well, he's a marketable driver as well because he's riding under the Thai flag. So there's a marketing purpose to him as well. You don't just want to get rid of a guy like that because in all fairness, and we've seen now, money, the money you bring to Formula One as a racer, you're good anyway. If you got a Formula One seat, you're one of the top 20 drivers in the world because only the best get to Formula One at the end of the day. But you also got to have
that marketing drive will certainly help you to.
You've got to have a market these days
over someone else who's more or less the same as the same skill level as you.
Because what they've done now is, I mean, they've been very loud and clear, Formula One, that they have taken a knock with obviously COVID and things like that. So teams have their budgets have taken knocks. Smaller teams, their budgets are even smaller. That's the reason. I'm not saying it is the reason why Haas decided to change its drivers, but one of the reasons for getting rid of Grosjean and Magnussen this season was Haas said straight, we need drivers that bring in money. We need drivers that have a following, and they brought.
And we all know Mick Schumacher is definitely going to bring eyes.
He's going to bring eyes. He's going to bring money. You're going to get your German investors. You're going to get your brands, and that's going to hop on that Schumacher bandwagon. You're going to get you've got what's it, Marzipan or Muzzle, I think it's Marzipan or whatever from the Russian that signed for them as well, who what's a top 3 in F2 I think in the rankings. I know Mick won F2 and I think he's second, he was third I think he ended up third or fourth in F2. He's got millions of Russian like fans and things like that and a lot of money where it comes with him. So there you've got two drivers that's going to bring in eyes, and they're two different sides of the globe, and they're going to bring in some extra revenue for you, which is I think what teams like Haas need. And then you're going to look back at we know for the fact that not everyone has a dad like Lance Stroll, which can go buy a team. So you've got to look at it. Checo, what I've heard a lot about is people say is Checo actually brings in quite a bit of money wherever he's been because the Mexican, he's got a massive Mexican, a South American following. So he brings a lot of fans with him wherever he brings a different market to racing.
Well, I'm sure after this season he would also have gained a lot of fans because I mean he's done great. He's fourth on the drivers table at the moment with not well, let's put it this way, there are people with better cars and bigger brand cars and whatever, so I think he's definitely gained a couple of fans this year
for sure. You're also going to have Renault have obviously a lot.
Alonso is going to bring a lot of people.
It's going to bring a lot of fans in. Even though I still question it, like bringing in a guy like Alonso back into F1 when there's so much good talent and there's so much younger talent than him around. Like you think of guys like Nico Hulkenberg, who, he's also been around the block for a while, but you've got guys like that who could have also gotten seats, and you almost bring in this complete veteran back. It's obviously depending on what the team wants to get out of it. If it's the team bringing him in to help the team actually get better for 2022, or is it just going to be a one season wonder type thing for him back?
Well, I think that
It's
it
interesting
could
to
also
see,
be a marketing thing, definitely.
just to get
And
some money back in. And
yeah, get some eyes on the team. And but I think, yeah, obviously, I don't think it's definitely not a long term thing.
yeah,
But it was could also be, and I know he's been consulting for them, so it could also be sort of almost like a more hands on consulting role, for a
yeah.
season or two, where you're in the car every race and you know exactly what it's doing, and which is always different from testing.
And then you're gonna have. I'm very excited to see Danny Rick riding with Norris in the McLaren. I think those two are going to make quite a cool little team. I think we're going to get some great content out of those two as well.
Yeah, well,
Which is
Ricardo is
good.
always good for content.
Yeah, and Lando's been doing a fantastic job. I follow him on all social media, and I've watched his Twitch streams now and then, and the guy's an absolute laugh. Like you can see he's a good bloke, and the guy's pretty much he's our next Danny Rick, if you can say, where Mr. Personality, if you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
he's really got a good personality on him, and the kid can drive. I mean, he's shown he can really, really drive. He does need to work on things, but he's by far not like one of the weakest drivers on the circuit.
Mm.
And these last few circuits, in all fairness, haven't really suited McLaren. I think the first few races of the season suited the car, and both drivers, him and Carlos, got everything out of those cars in the first few races. I just don't think the car suited these last few weeks, and you could see that from where they've ended. But they've also been unlucky. I mean, Carlos last week? No, the week before, where he spun out and he was in the points again, and these things are part of racing. But we needed a little bit of spark, and we got a bit of spark with the last race. Hopefully, this Abu Dhabi this weekend's more spark again, because it was looking as like a real boring season in the last few weeks.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, let me quickly get something on the screen here. We'll jump over to the football. Got a little question from your mate Jesse. Let me see here. So Jesse wants to know, his question for us tonight was whether or not you're cucking yourself for tonight's Champions League clash. Pretty much a must win, well, a must not lose, basically.
Yeah, I must not lose.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, United are fucking great at those. Don't lose the game. You can do whatever you want, just don't lose it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the GIF I sent to
sometimes it feels like those are more stressful than if you know you need a win.
I've been using that Mourinho GIF all day today. I'll be like, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'll be in trouble. So I'm not going to jinx anything tonight. I'm going to steer away from. We know what we have to do, and like you said, now just don't lose.
What's up, Jade? Popping in here just in
Good
time
to
for
see
the
Jade
football.
Yep, Jade in time for the football to rock up. I 100% agree with that as well.
So Jade was I was just gonna ask Keegan about Pogba. So what is the story? What's he crying about now again?
Well, he's not actually crying. He's getting his agent to cry that he's not happy at United.
That's been an old trick.
The typical Mina Raiola Pogba relationship, how it goes. And he basically said that Pogba's time at United is running out. So this comes down to the fact that obviously there's a new boy in town, and his name's Bruno Fernandes, that has just rocked up and kept his head down and worked and has actually produced something.
He basically rocked up and did what Pogba was paid to do.
Supposed to do. Yeah. What Pogba was paid to do, Bruno actually just arrived and did it. And now he's not the main guy in the dressing room anymore. He now has a little Portuguese guy that's just taken over from him, and I don't think it likes his ego too much. And apparently, Pogba is willing to even like there's talks that take a pay cut and things like that to get out of there. So we'll see what happens.
So
Listen,
how many years does he have left? Like 1 or 2?
I think it's 1 or 2. I think it's 1 or 2. I'm not too sure with you. Listen, at the end of the day, I think it's 2, to be fair. But his wage, I mean, what he's produced and what his wages are, and it's going to be tough to find somewhere else. Apparently Mino is feeding us shit that he can go back to Juventus. There's options for taking back. Yeah, typical.
That's a very good point by Jade. Like going into like we said, a almost must-win game, and then you fucking get your manager to tell, or your agent to tell the club that, well, tell the whole world that he wants to leave.
Yeah, this is only the second time that they've done this. Only the second time. Okay.
So tell me, as a manager, does he get picked tonight?
I wouldn't. Not a chance.
Surely not.
No, like my problem is this, and this is my problem with Pogba, is if you control your agent at the end of the day, you tell your agent to shut the hell up because you're causing issues for me. Or if you don't tell your agent to shut the hell up, you are actually agreeing with your agent. So that means you've liaised with him.
After the first time, he would have, or you would think he would have told the agent, listen, bud, don't say stupid shit without my consent.
Exactly.
And then he either should fire him now because he's fucking up, or like 100%. You said, I'm agreeing with you, or maybe the message comes directly from Pogba.
Well, I'm pretty sure that it's Pogba feeding this news to Raiola, and he knows Raiola has the balls to just say it whenever he wants to, or he'll wait for certain times when to say it. And I think that's what happened here. And like we said,
especially now, good win this weekend, great goal, and now in front of this, or just before this crunch game, you go and drop that.
Yeah, it's my problem is this: it's unacceptable. Where I know people had a bit of an issue with what Jamie Carragher said about this, saying that he's been dropped and blah blah blah. I understand Pogba was sick and had COVID and blah, all that nonsense or whatever and that. But I do also understand that Carragher came out to say that at the end of the day, if you don't like that, you should be sacking your manager. You as a player still have all the right to find someone who's good enough to represent you. 100%. But obviously him and Mino are attached by the hip. They are good friends. They go on holiday together. Yeah. Okay. So Pogba is basically feeding information to Mino, knowing Mino will do stuff on his behalf. And Mino doesn't care how he's seen in the media. Like, he doesn't care.
I mean, they're obviously now trying to force a move, which is problematic now because, firstly, United's going to struggle to get anywhere close to what they paid for him. Secondly, like we mentioned, he's not gonna get those wages anywhere unless he fucks off to China or somewhere. And thirdly, if I'm a manager at a different club and I see this bullshit going on, I don't want that guy playing for me.
See, that's the problem though, because I think Juventus and the Juventus board want him back. They want him back at the club. So they don't care. Like, cool, we'll take you back, but we might not. You have to take a pay cut because obviously with COVID and everything, we can't pay you those fees. So I think on that point of view, I think Juventus don't care. Like, they will take him back in a heartbeat. Problem is going to be interesting how United play that, because I've got a feeling that Solskjaer is actually ready to let him go. Like. But also knows he's got to play it very carefully on how he does this.
The problem is the board's going to have an issue because they're not going to get paid what they, close to what they
Exactly.
invested in him. And we all know how they fucking operate. So,
But then again, we're going to have to do, so no one's going to overpay for him. No one's going
yeah,
to, I agree. We'll be lucky to get that. And listen, I would take a swap deal. Like I would work. That would be my main concern. I would be wherever you can go or send him to. I mean, I can send him to Madrid where maybe he doesn't really want to go. He wants to go back to Juve, and I'll send him, dangle him in front of Madrid and say, hey, do you guys want him? Give us an Isco or someone in return, something like that. Like that, where at least you're getting a functional player back. I know United fans are going to jump on the Dybala train, but I don't know if he's the type of player that we need.
Maybe they should swap him with Ozil.
Yeah, send him somewhere where he doesn't want to go.
Yeah,
and
then at least Ozil has a new bench to sit on.
Yeah, so I would dangle him in front of clubs where there's players that I really want. Honestly, I would, and see what comes from it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not set on Dybala being the player that we need, even though that I know his name's going to come up if there's any swap deal going around. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Listen, with this team this United side has shown that they can play without him, that they don't need him around. So we just need to make sure that we get the best or as much as we can out of the deal.
Yeah.
Not totally screw ourselves.
Yeah. So another thing that I did is I ran a little bit of a poll. So I've been fairly vocal about my support for Giroud, who's fallen out of favor. I don't think he ever was in favor with Chelsea fans. But obviously not just last week, but especially last week, he got a great result for us by scoring 4 goals, perfect hat-trick and a penalty. I just want to get this little poll up here quickly. So I ran a little poll asking our followers whether or not he's the most underrated striker in the Premier League, with 61% saying yes. Someone voted comment for someone else but never commented, which is very clever. Yeah. And then obviously this weekend he comes and scores in another tricky fixture against Leeds. And I think he's giving it his all, and I really respect that because he needs to play now to make it into the France side, and he really looks like the easy option he could have done is just to leave in Jan, go to a smaller club where it's easier for him to play. But now he's starting to really give Lampard a bit of a headache.
Yeah, it's like I don't think, for me, like when it comes to Olivier Giroud, I don't think he's underrated. I think he's underappreciated by a lot of people. I think he's proven his worth. He's proven what type of striker he is, especially if you're looking for a specific type of striker. He's like that perfect mold of he can hold it up, but he can, get stuck in, like he can score those great goals, those headers. He's a target man. And we've said it for, months and months, that Chelsea need a target man. Like that's what Chelsea doesn't really need the Werner type strikers, those one running between the lines. Chelsea needs target men.
Especially we've got enough midfielders that can run between the lines and do all the fancy stuff.
As soon as you play with your target man, look at the difference and look how different your side looks. And that's so. I think he's underappreciated. I think he was underappreciated at Arsenal. Definitely underappreciated at Chelsea. And I think the problem is the amount of money and the young English youth you have at your club. I think Frank's also under a bit of pressure that he has to use and has to play those players. And I do think you're going to use him. You're going to use Giroud while he's on this run. But one almost feels that if he slips up slightly, like there's a fixture or two that he doesn't score in, he's back on the bench again, eating bench for a long time. One almost feels that that's almost how, he's used at Chelsea. If he's
I don't know. I get where you're coming from, that is how he has been used. But what I really love about him is the fact that he's always willing to. He never complains about being that type or being used in that way. And whenever he plays, he seems to score, right? Even if it's just in a smaller cup or a Champions League game that maybe doesn't mean so much. But Chelsea fans especially, and Arsenal fans but that's a different story when he was with them, seem to just, like you say, underappreciate the guy.
I think, and I agree with Jade completely there. I mean, he's a clever player that knows how to bring players in around him and knows how to work off them. And I think, like, especially at Chelsea,
hold the ball up very well.
It's the type of striker Chelsea have actually should be getting. I know you've had few ones, but some of them just don't fit the mold. Like the Morata situation is never going to fit the mold, really. Like there's certain strikers that that's just not going to fit the mold. And I think with Giroud is the big thing is he wants to play in that World Cup, or is it World Cup?
The Euro.
Sorry. He wants to play in that Euros, so he knows he's going to need as much game time as possible because they're in front. Like there's lots of options in France, and he's obviously up against Anthony Martial, I guess, for that position. I'm not too sure who is the favored one because obviously Mbappe picks himself in that French front line. So, it's a tough situation for the guy because you're on this great run. You just hope the manager just keeps backing you, and keeps showing that faith. But you also know what's happened in the past with you. You're like almost in two minds. You just got to like hope for the best. And that situation.
Well, I've got a feeling he's going to stick around this season. And I've got a feeling it's going to work out great for him because I do feel that he's much more suited to our team than Tammy Abraham is, even though Tammy hasn't been bad this season.
I don't think he's been bad this season, to be honest with you. Like
I think Giroud just naturally fits our system more. And I think Tammy might need a little bit of work to almost look that comfortable and that natural in the system. I would actually, what I would really love is and I've said this before, is for Tammy to be deployed with Werner as two forwards. I think that's where Tammy would shine a little bit.
Odd one out, and I'll be honest with you, and it's probably going to be controversial. I think your odd one out is Werner in the system. Because if you have Pulisic and Ziyech playing, you much rather have a Giroud or a Tammy type player.
Yeah, so that's why I'd rather go two up front, where you can, because you can't leave Werner out.
You can't, but I'm saying I feel that he's the odd striker in your system. He's for me, he's not the one that really fits the system or fits.
Not the current system, no, because he can't do what he needs to do on his own.
And to be fair, I don't think he's good enough to outplay any of your players out on the left. I know he's been used out on the left for you guys, but I think you've got better players that can play out wide left.
No, I agree with you.
So
two up front, and who knows? Maybe tonight, not the strongest opposition. We've already won the group. Maybe tonight we see something different in terms of formation and maybe a different style being played, which would be great. Although Lampard would probably wish to rest most of those guys.
Who do you have on the weekend?
Everton,
yeah. That's a tricky fixture at the moment because you don't really know which Everton. They started off well. They had a bit of a blip because obviously they had Rodriguez, they had Luke Digney, they had Coleman out, and then they lost a few fixtures and went off the rails a bit. But now they're all back, and it's free flowing again. So you also don't know with that Everton side at the moment which one you're coming up against.
Yeah, but I feel that Everton's generally almost always like that. It's never a confident game. It's never a game that you know you're going to win.
I think that Everton side is a lot more. There's a lot more ballers in that Everton side now. They're maybe not as hard as they used to be, but that side is well coached. They play something. They sometimes fantastic
skill
to watch. It's at times it's some wonderful football to watch them play. Like how they get it right. Only thing for Everton for me is they need to get a new goalkeeper. They need to get rid of Pickford. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to be their starting keeper. He's not good enough to be England's number one. And if they can fix that goalkeeper situation, I think they'll be even better, even tougher to break down.
Well, we spoke about it earlier in the season, saying that if they can keep this up, keep their players, spend a little bit next season, then you're looking at it, because then they got a little bit more depth and all of that, looking at a very dangerous side.
I look at two keepers in the Premier League already that's better than those two. Like obviously you would try get a Romero from United, the third keeper. You would like depth is what they definitely need to work on, and that's what we say next season they might have to spend a little bit more just to build that depth a bit. But like goalkeepers, you look at it and you'd be Nick Pope at Burnley, fantastic goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And should probably be England's number one if you think about it. By far the better than Pickford. You can go even Southampton's McCartney has been playing superbly the last few months. You can go Romero if you can get him from United. Any one of those three goalkeepers make that Everton side better. Makes it more solid at the back.
That makes a huge difference. We literally just saw with Chelsea what a big difference that can make.
100%. It makes a world of difference. Even if you can afford it, or I don't think you'll be able to get him, but Anoyo from Ajax, the goalkeeper there, is quality. Martinez is good, but I think with him just joining Villa, I don't think there's any chance of you getting him unless Villa are going down. I don't think you're going to get him unless Villa are in the relegation this season. But yeah, I think clubs like it's just a few wiry transfers there could really like pick their efforts up and improve it. But yeah, depth is a problem for them. So
and then just one thing. While we're on this weekend's Premier League, United, we were right the previous podcast, Jade saying they can keep Kepa.
And they can buy Kepa.
Oh, they can buy Kepa, yeah. They can have him for free. How's that?
They can have Lee Grant from us. I mean, he doesn't do anything by our club. Mourinho brought him in to do, I don't know, like wash boots or something. But yeah, he does nothing at the club, so they can have him on free if they really want to.
Yeah,
I don't know how good he is.
It wouldn't be a bad shout of them actually, maybe to try and get a loan deal for Kepa, because I still maintain Kepa is a good goalkeeper. We've seen that. He's done amazingly well for Spain as well. I just think it's not even a form thing. I think it's a psychological thing that he got into that he couldn't get out. And maybe, who knows, a little loan move somewhere else could just snap him out of that.
Definitely. Yeah, and United's got a big one. It's City Derby. It's the big derby this weekend, so that should be interesting. Obviously,
and you guys are sitting a lot better now in sixth place. City's just below you, 1 point below. It's really after this weekend, it's really become very close again towards the top.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close for a while until the game in hands get played, because then you really know where everyone's sitting.
Yeah.
Once those
Well, I
games,
mean, once that gets played, the top six is going to get even closer because
yeah,
it's you and City that have games in hands. And I
yeah,
mean, if you guys, let's assume you get the 3 points on that, as it stands, that moves you up just below
I think
Leicester.
into fourth, isn't it?
Yeah, depending on goal difference.
Yeah,
So fourth or fifth.
yeah,
But that puts you 1 point behind Chelsea.
yeah. And that's
So it's
what's it?
really
How much off the top? I think it's like
that
five,
that would be
four,
only
five,
three off the top.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see. So then it's the type of leagues that you want, like the type of league that we've been wanting for a while, like nice and close, and a result makes you move up or down.
I
So
think this whole COVID thing has really helped almost level things out just purely because teams are so busy.
oh yes,
Hello,
like it.
Corvus.
Who
Oh
allowed
fuck.
which guy to join? Who
We're gonna
gave him
have
this?
to start censoring these comments for Corvus. But yeah, I think this COVID thing with the fixtures being so close to each other really helped because now clubs are going to slip up here and there. Clubs are going to get injured or injuries, and I think it's better for the league at the moment. It's more fun to watch, at least.
Definitely, especially with so limited fans in the stands and stuff like that. Like you want that. So we needed a close league for that as well. I think we also need a little bit of. One almost feels that like there's so much football right now. I saw Kurt tweeting about it in the week, and I actually
It's
actually read the
difficult to
tweet.
keep up.
Yeah, it's difficult to keep up, but it's also like it must be worse for a football writer like him. Like it's tiring. It's your job every day. There's
Oh yeah.
fixtures every second day at the moment. And I can imagine how like over it must be, because there wasn't an off season really. So you went from one season into
Also,
another.
you don't even have time to sort of almost properly research stuff because as soon as Sunday night's games are done, you need to prepare previews and whatever for your Tuesday night or even your Monday night Premier League fixture.
Exactly. So
Like,
you're playing.
I mean, I'm just trying to follow one team, and even I didn't realize that we're playing tonight again already. So I
Yeah.
can just imagine as a writer where you obviously try and follow almost all the teams, so it becomes a nightmare.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I think with the Champions League running so late, like quite deep, because normally we don't normally have Champions League fixtures this late into
In
now
December,
into
yeah.
December.
Yeah.
It's just, and you're gonna have the cups coming up now as well.
We've got cups coming up, plus we've got the normal Christmas/New Year's rush, which is insane by itself. Just the Premier League games is usually like 9 games or something stupid in a month.
Mm-hmm. Plenty still to come, and yeah, it's just gonna get even. It's gonna get even mad, and I still think there's gonna be a lot of twists and turns because I think there's still gonna be a lot of injuries. There's still gonna be, we obviously heard today that they started with vaccines and stuff like that in the UK, but there's no guarantee that it actually does anything to, and so I still feel that we're still going to be fighting a few lockdowns here or there, or different tiers of lockdowns around, especially now with December. And especially now everywhere, not just in South Africa, but everywhere else in the world, there's going to be a bit of a holiday time. People are going to move from provinces and cities to cities for holidays. Yep. I do expect like January, February to be a bit of a shit show when it comes to spikes. And we could see sport take a bit of a hammering then.
Well, we saw this weekend what happened with the cricket. I was so excited to spend my entire Sunday watching cricket for the first time in a long time. And now that's all gone to shit. How do you not? I don't understand how they fucked up that little bio bubble.
I don't know. I had this conversation on Twitter with a few on Twitter with a few people, and I was like, "Are we the only country in the world that doesn't know how to fucking do a bio bubble?"
Well,
Um,
you have to look at Cricket South Africa. I mean, at the moment they can't even organize a piss up in a brewery because firstly we know about all their fucking shit that last, you know, almost a year, all the administrative stuff. Now this comes along. The PSL did their bubble with 16 teams in Joburg, and there were no issues.
because you
Um,
know why, Ryan? The PSL also spent a little bit of money on the bubble, and
yeah,
I heard some people defending the CSA situation, going, "Yeah, but people don't understand how much money the PSL bubble costs." I'll be like, "That's why it worked." You know
yeah,
what? They were so desperate to get football back. They were so desperate for clubs to start paying their players
they
and for
fucking invested
getting.
some money.
They invested a shit ton of money into this bubble, and the PSL got it right. And it's the one thing that people actually. I give the PSL a lot of shit. I know you do. A lot of people give the PSL a lot of shit. So one
Yeah, but
thing the
that's one
PSL,
thing they got spot on.
if they've taught rugby and they've taught cricket something, is how to flip and do the bubble right. Because
Yeah,
even in rugby, we've had games postponed in Curry Cups. We've had the Super Rugby unlocked. We had games cancelled due to COVID and bubble breaches and all those things, or COVID getting into the camp. If the PSL, you know, take your hat off and give them a bit of a round of applause, they're showing everyone how to do a bubble because
yeah.
they're not having
But
issues.
now also, even if it is a financial thing, um, where does it bring them now? Because they now basically just paid the England squad to come on a free holiday. And now they're not. I mean, they're not making money out of broadcasting now anyway. So I'm sure they're probably losing money on this whole thing now.
I think it comes. It's just poor. It's
Yeah,
poor.
fair enough. Just incompetent.
It's incompetent. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. That's what it actually just is. It's and people are now like, oh well, we've got Sri Lanka coming up. If you can't get it right in this series, we're not gonna have the Sri Lanka. I'll be surprised if the Sri Lanka series still goes ahead. Because you
Mm,
know what's going to happen? We all know and we can see it now, and we live in the Cape, so obviously we know numbers are flying
yeah.
down here.
When are they supposed to come over?
I think isn't it in Jan? They're supposed to do the Jan tests for Sri
Well, I
Lanka.
mean, it's going to be way worse than it is now, guaranteed, because we know it's holiday season coming up and
People are
all of that.
moving up and down.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like I said, it's just embarrassing, man.
I
Like
just
I
don't
can't.
get it. To me, it's in my mind creating a bubble like that, especially because it's not even an entire league. It's two squads, and
It should
obviously
be
your
so
support
easy,
staff and that. You put everyone in one hotel, including your freaking bus drivers and everyone that works
staff,
in the hotel.
staff in the hotel. Everyone is in the same. You know,
Yeah,
staff can be all on the first floor, and the two teams can be on the top floor, and like whatever. But everyone stays in the same hotel. No one's allowed to leave. The only
yeah.
time you're allowed outside is to go to the pool to go lie down if you want to. Like it's simple as it's
But
pretty
even
simple.
then, you're still in the bubble because
Exactly.
everyone at the pool is in the
It's on
bubble
the
as well,
premises.
including staff.
Yeah,
And yeah,
it doesn't make
yeah.
sense. Like it just
I don't
doesn't.
know.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, I wanted to bring that up. Thanks for bringing that up, Jed. The UK had the West Indies and Pakistan, okay, when they were like the third highest or the fourth highest cases in the world. Not one single issue during that time. And they had two series played. They played two series.
Well, that begs the question. Maybe we should just say, listen, we're obviously not equipped to do this. So let's just us go overseas and let them handle the fucking logistics. We'll just rock up and hope for the
Well,
best.
it just shows you. It just that makes it even more embarrassing that we're not equipped to do it. We've got some of the best. Like if you look at it, like if you've traveled the world and if you've traveled around the world, you'll realize that our facilities here in South Africa comes to hotels and stuff is brilliant. Like you
Especially in
struggle.
Cape Town, there's more than enough hotels that are big enough for things like this. And
You struggle to get as the quality of hospitality or like like hotels and things around the world, and obviously for the rest of the world it's dirt cheap to come here, but we can't get something simple like a little bubble. Like we can't get that right. I don't know if it's ignorance from the staff or ignorance from the hotel, like when you're going to go stay at a hotel, because it comes down to that as well. Like staff has got to be educated. Listen, for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, there's no stuffing about. You can't just go out. You can't, sneak out. Like it's an education thing as well. And you've got to sort of, everyone has to be part of it. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just the teams, it's everyone. Part of the bubble has to be part of it.
yeah,
I've heard
it only takes one guy to fuck it up for everyone.
I think it was AB who was helping. AB Basson was helping, I think, Wits out before they disappeared from the PSL, sadly. But during the bubble, he was working in the bubble in the hotel, and he was commenting on how awesome the staff were. How the staff were trying their utmost best to be part of like this. They felt that they were part of this whole PSL thing, like they were part of the PSL because
you're part of history. You're really part of history because something like this has never happened before, and hopefully never will again.
By you doing your job right allows the game to happen. You know what I mean?
How can you as someone that works at a hotel, or maybe you the bus driver or whatever, you've never been able to make such a big impact where an entire country can watch a sporting event which they haven't seen in months just by you sticking to your guns and helping everyone out. You'd think that's amazing.
It's incredible. I think a lot's got to do with a little bit of the lack of caring, and also just the lack of education, and just like people just not giving a shit enough. And I also feel that a lot of this stuff was last minute. Like I know that you know about something for a while, but with cricket, South Africa's absolute shithousery, you probably find that arrangements are also made like last minute. Listen, Ryan, we know, me and you've got experience. We know how last minute a lot of cricket things have been.
Yeah.
We've seen teams rock up at hotels. We've known about the MSL who where the contract to sign at a hotel has happened. The competition starts on the Friday, but the hotel contract only gets signed on the Monday.
Yeah.
Like we know how last minute they work.
Yeah. And I bet you that was probably the issue, because that's when things like training and whatever slips through the cracks, or maybe you don't make arrangements for a certain department in this whole bubble and they end up having to go home because you never catered for them properly. And then, someone
Then
gets
this
infected and yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I just hope that we get it right if Sri Lanka comes over and we get to see some cricket, because I was so pissed off this weekend when I saw that the game was called off.
Yeah, I must say I haven't been too worried about like cricket lately. Like this whole cricket South Africa thing has just made me so depro, and I don't give two craps about T20 cricket. So I never watch T20 cricket really, but I was amped to watch some ODI because I watch ODI and I watch Test cricket. I was amped for a bit of that. And when I saw the bubble news and that breakout, I think we were having breakfast actually on Sunday, and that news came out. I was just like, only in this country. Like, I was like, this is so typical. Like, I'm not even shocked anymore.
Yeah. That's
Cricket,
the
you
word.
can't be shocked anymore.
You get pissed off and whatever, but you're not even shocked. You're like, I'm not even surprised.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up with a quick prediction. I know you didn't want to speak about tonight's game, but you're going to have to give me a prediction for United against Red Bull.
I'm going to sleep. I'm going to miss the game. I'm going to fall asleep. And when I wake up on Monday morning, tomorrow morning, Wednesday
On Monday morning, fucking hell, how long are you going to sleep for?
I've lost a day. I'm going to lose a few days. We're going to Pull Valley this weekend, or later this week.
So, by the way, everyone watching this, we might do another podcast this week live from Pull Valley, maybe Friday. Just saying, keep an eye out for that.
Either that, or we'll do some Instagram live stuff, and we'll muck about, and we'll be watching some. There'll be Europa League on Thursday, so we can take the piss out of Arsenal. Actually,
always
Thursday
fun.
night at the bar. That could be fun. We'll stream Jesse in for that one.
We'll get Jesse involved and Wilco involved.
And then we'll I think, dude, I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this side. We'll go have a great second half like we did on the weekend, and then probably be utter crap. We're out without Cavani, Martial, what else?
Probably Pogba.
Probably Pogba, but there is word that he's apparently starting, but I can't see how you start him after those comments. But yeah, listen, I will put my foot down and I'll say we are going to draw. It's going to be a nervy.
Gonna go through by the skin of your teeth.
I'm going to go a nervy 1-1 draw.
Okay. Well, looking forward to it. I might watch a bit more of that game than I do the Chelsea game because depending on how we line up there, I think that should be an easy one for us. But enjoy it, and everyone at home, thanks for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys on Thursday or Friday, probably.
Yeah. Cool, dude.
Lekker. Cheers, dude.
See you
Have a good one.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.